Hello?
Hello.
Whoa. 2 weeks in a row. We can't even act like it's a big deal now that we know what to do now.
We professionals now, so.
Professional podcasters. Let's do it. Episode 9, the Voice Not an Option podcast. My name is Stephen James Dixon.
I'm about to sneeze.
That's not professional. We just had this whole announcement about us being new professional podcasters. And
it's gone.
It sounded nasty. It sounded real nasty. We just lost a whole bunch of fans. We just lost like 500,000 fans. They're going to hear that and be like, oh, she nasty. It's going to be some hate. It's going to be some hate. I was going to warn you about the hate on Facebook.
You already did, though. Okay, so I didn't even realize. Wait, we didn't even do an intro. Hey, this is Tamara. Hey, everybody.
The Voice Not an Option podcast.
But yeah, I've already been kicked off the podcast.
No, you didn't see. There was another one where somebody said something to the effect of, she don't do nothing for me. It was just like nonchalant, like, she don't do nothing for me.
Wow.
Like that. Yes, it's that, and I know you, and I was going to warn you, but I was like, man, if I warn her about the hate, then it's one of those things where when somebody say, hey, I want to talk to you later, and you're like, what do you want to talk about? Let's talk about it right now. You know what I mean? Like, and so if I warn you, it was not going to be good. So I just feel like maybe
you could have, because I was not expecting that. Just like, kick her off the show. She got a man.
Right. You know,
like,
and so
thank you for your congratulations.
And that statement wasn't necessarily hate. I've seen way worse than that. That statement was just what they would like to hear on the show. And you get that too. You know what I mean? I take all that as just feedback, and we do whatever we want to do because it's our podcast, right?
I feel that, but I've done hard time. It's been a long time coming to get to where I am. So
you know what? Speak directly to that Facebook response, because you saw did you see what I said back to that?
I did. I appreciate you on that. And that's a very good point. Anybody who wants to have any opinions can feel free to call into the show, and we would love to talk about whatever you want to talk about. But that particular response was basically, she engaged now, she got a man, so she can't speak for a single woman. And, I'm 40 years old. And the assumption in that statement was also, well, since you engaged, you've been in a relationship a while, so it's been a long time since you've been single. That is not true either. I happen to be marrying my best friend, who I've known for 20 years, but we've only been dating for 7-8 months. So no, I've been single for a very long time and been through a lot. I've like earned all my stripes.
Yeah. And that's what I said, that after being single for so long, and, having so many different types of relationships, experiencing relationships, not only yours, but your friends that you've held their hands through as they've gone through being married, being divorced, baby mama, being engaged and broken up with, all that kind of stuff.
Yes, it's been some things all around. So yeah, that was an interesting statement.
So this week we talking about marriage wars. And so what we're going to do is just going to just brainstorm on some topics, throw some topics out there. I'll respond to them. I'll think of some stories and scenarios, and I always got some principles and things like that I want to respond to or speak to.
Okay, sounds good. So, you have a story of the week to tell us?
I always got a story of the week. And the story of the week for me is always at some point during my relationship coaching, during the week, no matter how many people I meet with. If I meet with 8 couples in a week or I meet with 2 couples in a week, for some reason, it's always something that stands out to me that I'm either excited about or that I'm either saying to myself, I'm always repeating this type of issue to a couple.
So what stood out this week?
This week, I had a session with a man today. I'm fresh off it. Like, it was just about 2 hours ago.
Oh, wow.
So I'm still kind of turned. I'm still kind of turned from that.
We got a good one. Let's hear it.
And so what the man said was, him and his wife was debating what to do over the holidays. And they had spent the majority of the Thanksgiving.
Hard.
Yes, very, very hard. So it's very appropriate to talk about this right now.
Right.
And so what had happened was that they were planning for Christmas, and she was trying to plan, they don't live in the same city as their parents, neither sets of parents.
Well, that makes it harder.
It makes it even more difficult. And so they're both in driving range, like 3-4 hours either way.
Okay, that's it.
But they had just spent Thanksgiving with his family, and now she was trying to get like Christmas and New Year's. And they had some
Uh,
other complimentary things too that was a part of the issue. And she ended up feeling like, okay, you're not taking my family into consideration. And it became, kind of attacking each other where she was, saying, feeling a certain way about how he approached the holidays.
but they couldn't
And
find like a compromise if he got Thanksgiving, she get Christmas, and he get New Year's, and then they alternate the next year.
you know what was very, what got me excited about this conversation with this young man is that he knew the problems, but he didn't do anything about it.
That's
Like,
typical.
right. So like he knew in advance. So he got on the phone with me, we had our session. He said, Stephen, okay, so this is what happened. That there was a misunderstanding. And I know she didn't hear me when I said that we can do, both things that you want to do, but this is what I want to do also. She only heard like the second part of what I said. And so that made her upset. And then after that, it just went left. And
So wait. Time out. So he had a solution to the problem, and she didn't hear it, and they still arguing. Like he couldn't just correct what she thought she heard.
They had a solution to the problem. He knew it was a solution to the problem. But once she thought that he was planning against her or they weren't operating on the same team or whatever, she attacked him and he responded to the
Oh,
attack.
I got a story just like that. Go ahead.
And so I had to talk to him about how when you know that your partner is responding from a place of being hurt or they're just being
Mm-hmm.
emotional and you know the problem, this is a misunderstanding, how you cannot respond to the attack. That is the difference between marriage and relationships. When you're in a relationship, you can respond to everything. You can defend yourself at all times. You can be Donald Trump and tweet if you want to. You know what I'm saying? Everything that goes wrong.
But to your point, you always say that's a skill set. So how do you develop the skill set of knowing, okay, this is one thing that I need to address, and this is something I need to not attack and let it go?
Because number one, you gotta, and it's a whole. I'm glad you said it's a skill set because it is something that you definitely have to acquire. And that's what the man was saying to me too. He said, Stephen, I'm not ready all the time, on point, 100% of the time to be the leader of the relationship. And what I tried to talk to him about was that is leadership. Leadership is not you get to take breaks. Like leadership is not. I said, okay, when you get to the crib tonight, tell your wife that for the month of December she's the leader. He was like, no, I'm still the leader. I'll say you know what I mean? Like you don't want to give up that leadership.
He wanted to wear the pants.
Yeah, he want to wear the pants. You can't decide. And I said, but if you don't want to wear the pants every day, she will gladly take on the days that you give her to wear the pants.
You know?
And men always stop when I say, so to go home, tell your wife that Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, she's the leader of the relationship.
That's
and she
a
will
good
gladly
one.
take that.
That is
She will gladly, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, yes, I will take it.
This.
I will lead it. She will run everything. She'll wake your ass up at midnight. Like it started. Like what are you doing? Get up.
Today is my
go
day.
build. We own it. Go build a carport. Go build another closet or something.
Yep.
And so I was like, there is no breaks. You have to be on point. And so then he came back with, well, I'm not perfect. I made a mistake. I could have corrected it and I didn't. I said, that's great. Don't get me wrong. That's great that you acknowledged it. But I said at some point during the argument, you knew that you could have said, hey, Susan or Sharon or Taylor or Sky, whatever. Hey, honey, wait, stop. Babe. We tripping, right? Slow down. Babe, back up. Wait, babe. It's a misunderstanding. Wait, back up for a second. We're good, right? We're not arguing here. We're on the same team. We're going to work it out. But I said, instead, you took the attack and then attacked her, and now y'all have a fight, and you know y'all shouldn't even be fighting about this.
Okay, so I have an example, and it just happened to be the cable guy came over, and somehow we started talking about, engagement and getting married, and he was talking about how he had planned out this whole proposal for his girl. They've been together for 3 years, and apparently she had a blow up. It's been too darn long, and I'm done. Before he got to propose. And so in the midst of the fight, he tells her the whole proposal scenario. See, I was going to do da-da-da-da-da-da, but now I'm not going to do it because you tripping.
Wow.
Yes. So now she's sitting there like, first she didn't believe him, and then he actually was like, I have the ring. So now they're at this impasse because he don't want to propose to her because she messed it up.
Wait. We gotta really embrace the moment when he came out with the ring and was like, bam! That's a real like, bam, in your face,
Yes. Yes. I mean, and
he had to bust it out.
that was the whole discussion we had, because I was like, you did all that just because you were mad. Like, you did not let you let your emotions control you instead of letting common sense control. And so now you are like at this standstill. We're talking about marriage wars or relationship wars. And so now they're at this impasse and neither one of them wants to back down.
And so, and what I would say to him is, and what I say to all my men is that I compare my husbands to leaders. Like, and so a leader to me is like the coach of the football team. You're not a player, you're a coach. Somebody has to have ultimate responsibility. Every unit, organization, company, structure, team, whatever, has a leader that is responsible for the entire unit, right? And so a husband in a marriage is the same thing as a coach as a football team. A husband in marriage is the same thing as CEO of the company. A husband in marriage is the same thing president of the United States. All of those have leadership roles. And so when you go to your company quarterly report and the CEO says, hey, we lost money, then the CEO may be replaced because he's not exhibiting great leadership. Right. And so I try to tell men, you have to have, and really we can go all the way back to Adam and Eve. When Eve was eating the fruit, Adam come over eat the fruit with Eve, right? You're not exhibiting leadership.
It was her day.
It was her day. Oh, that's true. Maybe it was her day. You're right. We're gonna start running with that a little bit now. You call me complaining about your boo. I'm like, is it your day though? And you like, I thought it was my day. So that's why that happened, right? And I'll call you. Tell my wife thought it was her day. She don't have no days. Let me just say that for the podcast. And she don't have no days. My wife don't have no days. I'm the man all day long. And now when I say that too, I'm not talking. You know what? Someone asked me the other day. They asked me. She said, "You're very possessive of your wife and your kids." She said, "You always say my. You always say my wife and my marriage and my family." Go ahead. You say something?
Yeah, well, I was just thinking, what else would you say?
And what I said about that, I don't mean my as in possession. I mean my as in protection. Okay. Get it? Like I'm providing security for them at all times, and I'm always cognizant of aware of all that security. Like for all of them at all times, no matter where they at. Like when my wife was working, I was concerned about her commute to work. You know, I was concerned about the performance of the vehicle, how the tires look, how the car drive, all that kind of stuff. You know, just anything that would enable her or that would stop her, any impediments for her going to work or coming from work or even being at work. You know what I mean? Like I still
want to know what that chick was expecting you to say. They your kids and your wife.
I think she was trying to bait me into being like I'm a dominant. Like I'm just one of those guys that's, you know, tell my woman what to do and you won't submit and all that. And I'm right. And my wife don't get down like that at all. And I am very much an old school traditional person in terms of I believe in submission. I believe in all those types of things. But at no point am I dominant over my wife. I'm not a king. I'm not a lord. You know, I'm not even an elected official. Well, I guess I can be elected official. She elected me, right? And so I also understand that she elected me. She can also do a recall, right? And so
recount the vote.
We really need to do that right now. You know what I mean? So I just really wanted to express to her that those words of it makes it easy and clear for me that I'm responsible at all times. And that's what's missing in a lot of our men. And I have this debate consistently with our men where I say, hey, like I was listening to a podcast yesterday and I heard like 4 or 5 men all pat themselves on the back for being great fathers.
Yes.
Like all of them, like, man, like you take care of your kids, At the end of the day, it's about take care of my kids.
You get accolades for doing what you're supposed to do.
But it's not just that. I'm like, so your kids are your seeds, but your wife is your rib. So why would you not take care of your rib, right?
Because there are no accolades for that. Nobody's patting anybody on the back for being a good husband.
Not anymore. We need to bring that back.
Yep.
And so I'm consistently saying to people that we can have more seeds. If something happened to Ethan and Emery, I love them dearly, but I choose my wife, and it's not even a second. If y'all go on my Facebook, you'll see me shine at my kids all the time, doing all kind of fun stuff, whatever. But my wife is unquestioned. I will choose her over them every single day of the week.
And that's the way it should be. But like in this day and age, people are so into their kids and they're so into giving their kids everything. I mean, that's a whole nother thing when you talk about the entitlement generation.
Yep.
But yeah, there are no true accolades for being a good husband or a good wife.
And so let me tighten up that story. So at the end of that story, at the end of my session today, the man was able to agree that at some point he should have shut it down and said, "Look, Kathy, I'm sorry." You know what I mean? Like, it's a misunderstanding.
10 names. This woman.
You know,
10
yeah. All of them, right? I don't want no one person. Why you talking about me? You know, the hate, right? I'm avoiding that. And so, and so, Susan, wait, calm down, Susan. And the thing I try to exhibit or try to instill into the men that I work with is that you have to have supreme confidence when you're dealing with your woman as a leader. You know, like I give the story about, remember the time when Obama was in session and a dude jumped out and said, "You're a liar."
Yep.
You remember that?
Yeah.
Obama is not to respond to that.
Right.
Right? You're not, when you're in leadership, you don't respond to that. When Dez Bryant go crazy on the sideline, you don't see the coach go over and, "Hey, Dez, I need you to calm down." We don't do that as leadership. So why do we have to respond to our women unless we are coming into a situation where we're trying to do problem solving, right? And I said to him, I said, if your woman is always arguing with you, it's because your woman thinks that you are a woman.
Oh.
If your woman is always arguing with you, it's because your woman thinks that you're a woman. Because men don't argue. Women argue. Right? Can we start some stereotypes?
Okay, wow. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to let that one process.
Men don't argue. Okay, ask your dude when you get off the podcast. Go in there and say, "Hey, if you go to the grocery store tomorrow and you and the dude have a difference of opinion, are y'all gonna sit there and argue for 20 minutes?" These are the options: argue for 20 minutes, fight, or leave. And every dude will say option B or option C. We're definitely not doing option A.
Just shut it down.
No dudes are just gonna argue. We don't do that. Somebody gotta get smashed in the mouth, right?
That's very true.
And so when we engage a woman in an argument in which the average woman is built like this, that's why we see love in hip hop.
We're emotional.
That's why y'all emotional and y'all not gonna fight, so y'all just gonna talk, right? And so y'all argue with your coworkers, you argue with your homegirl, you argue with your sister, argue with your mama, argue
and you
want
to make sure the other person like truly understands where you coming from. Like, you don't get it, and I'm not gonna stop talking till you do.
And then when you do that, you put us in an awkward situation because we're not used to having arguments. We're not prepared for this activity. We're not trained. We're not trained.
Hence
to
the deer in headlights look.
Exactly. Since the man, again, we got to talk about this again. I thought we had to talk about. We're not prepared to have an argument. We're not even really prepared for a conversation. We don't really do the conversation thing. We don't resolve issues. We fight. That's what we do. And we're at the gym, and I say I didn't step out of bounds. You say I did. We're gonna fight. You know what I'm saying? We're not gonna sit here and argue.
That's true.
So I explained to him that you have to be the leader of the relationship. Do you accept that? And he said, "Yes, I accept it. Yes, I see what I did wrong. I'm already in the process of apologizing." You know, and it was great.
Wow.
Yeah,
well,
it
you
was
need to
very
stop
refreshing.
right there. Just that he is apologizing. Like, a lot of dudes won't do that. And sometimes you have to recognize that as the leader, you just have to take one for the team and apologize.
Yeah, and you are responsible for taking one for the team. Like, the coach goes out there every week after the game, and they say, "Coach, why did you lose the game?" And the coach has to say, "Well, I didn't prepare a good game plan.
Right.
I didn't prepare the team correctly." The coach don't say, "Well, if Dez would have caught that ball across the middle," you know, you know what I'm saying? They never say
Romo
that.
hadn't broke his back.
Right. The coach don't come out every week like, "Well, if we'd have had Romo this week, we'd have been okay." There's no excuses from the coach.
Yeah.
And so I try to teach my husbands to learn from that leadership style that there's no excuses. And the reason you have to have that is because you have to have supreme confidence in your mate that you chose. You selected. Tamara's been selected. Is he supremely, I need to ask him, is he supremely confident about the character, the morals, the value?
You ain't got to ask nobody nothing.
I don't need to ask. Don't worry about that. Mind my business.
Don't worry about all that.
And so if he's confident about the person that he selected to spend his life with, then the next thing you got to do is you got to live and act on that confidence. So when something goes wrong, you cannot evaluate your marriage every single time something goes wrong. That's the difference between marriage and relationship too. Relationship, you can evaluate every day. Like Monday, I don't know if I'm going to make it to Friday. You know what I'm saying? Tuesday, you like, I should have broke up with him on Monday. You know what I'm saying? Wednesday, you like, it's going to be over tomorrow.
Okay, well, yeah, so you don't have that option in marriage, but getting back to my cable guy, what do you say to him when he's at this point where he's like, okay, well, I had this dream proposal. He was going to take her to New York and all this stuff. So now I can't do this. Now I don't want to propose to her because she's waiting for me to propose to her, but I still want to marry her. So how do I handle this situation?
Marriage is about you've decided that you can share your life with someone. You found someone out of the universe that you know that you have the ability to forgive for her mistakes. And you know that they have the ability to forgive you for your mistakes, and they can forgive you because of the love that they have for you. And so if you found that person, why mess with that? Why play games with that? Why set yourself up to go find someone that you can't forgive? How could you get to the point where you've decided that you're ready to marry someone and then decide because of something that's not even an issue? We don't even have a real issue. And then I also talk to a lot of men about being realistic about the person's problems. Like, you have to be able to put yourself, in order to be a problem solver, Tamara,
Right.
in order to be a problem solver, you have to be able to put yourself in your partner's shoes. You have to be able to do that. And if you put yourself in her shoes and that woman gave you 3 years, 3 years is about enough,
Right.
homie. 3 years about enough. So regardless if she got mad today or not, you should have proposed a year ago. Any woman that give a man more than 2 years, I mean, I guess it
Say that
depends on
again
our age.
for the cheap sheets.
Any
Cheap
woman,
seats.
cheat sheet, get the cheat sheet out.
Cheap seats.
If you give a man more than 2 years, either you were not a good girlfriend or you're being a bad girlfriend. Can I say both of those at the same time?
And what's the difference there?
The difference is, okay, a great girlfriend is a girlfriend that gives everything that she has, but she only gives that for a certain amount of time. And then you leave after you've acknowledged that you've been a great partner to this person.
Amen.
So the moment that the man acknowledges you're the type of woman, you've exhibited the qualifications of a woman I would marry, and then he don't move, he don't make that happen, it's time to go with that point.
Thank you.
Right?
Because I was a chick who
what I
was
have is
sitting
a-
there for 10 years waiting on a dude to marry me.
Nah, that's that, and you're gonna be waiting at all times.
Exactly.
And really, a bad girlfriend to me is one that's sitting around saying, "Well, I'm not gonna show him that I can cook because he don't deserve that yet," or "I'm not gonna show him that I know how to run a household." And what women need to understand is men do not promote you based on your looks or your money. We promote you based on the woman that you are. So you're gonna be hoe. All y'all gonna be hoes up front. Can we just keep it 100 like that? I told y'all I was turned up from the very
That's
beginning
just
today.
crazy.
Right?
That is, okay. All right. I guess we just got to accept
All
that.
hoes. Just accept that all hoes, all we want is sex. Right? That's all we want from women. When we meet her, no matter if she's a doctor, lawyer, teacher, stripper, they all the same. They all hoes.
Wow.
We all want sex. Then you prove to us that you're worthy of being girlfriend.
So the doctor
Right?
and the
And
stripper
so
on the
something
same
about
level.
you says, say that again.
Doctor and stripper on the same level.
Same level to us. We don't care
Okay.
because really all we want is sex.
Got it.
Right? Remember the study that said that we think about sex 700 times a day or something like that, right? And so we evaluate you based on who you are, and women are the exact opposite. Y'all not know better. Y'all saying he tall, he light skinned, he make a good money,
Okay,
a good
that's
job,
not
he
even
got a good degree.
that's not even true. So
He don't have nothing. So he marriage material, girl. He marriage
okay,
material. Y'all do the
yes,
opposite.
but that there are certain qualifications. Y'all got one qualification.
We got one qualification. If you do that well, we'll promote you to the next level.
We still
Y'all
look at
skip
the
all
character.
levels. Y'all like I every day it's a woman out there that's marrying a dude because he got some money. Every day.
Okay.
Marrying an ugly, raggedy, fat, nasty dude.
Melania
Dude
Trump,
just
but I'm
want-
not saying nothing.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and she one of the most beautiful women in the world at that time, and she marrying an orange dude that with a hairpiece or whatever that thing is on his head. You know what I mean? Like, just because he got some money. You know
But
what I mean? That
that
happens
speaks to her
every
character.
single day. That speaks to a lot of women's character. A lot.
I don't know them women.
There's a lot. You what? Say that again?
I don't know them women.
You know, you've seen them. And if you don't know them, just turn on your TV. They're all over TV. Every channel got one of those women on there where they're just selling out themselves for money. So this is an exchange that has been from the beginning of the time, and it's going to be until the end of time, that a lot of women will marry for money. A lot of men will marry for sex. The difference is when a man sees a woman, he just evaluates her from a sexual standpoint. When a woman sees a man,
Out. You just said that a man will marry for sex, but then you just said you got to show, all of your marriageable qualifications. Like if he just marrying you for sex, just sex him down and get married.
that's the different type of people. Like that's them celebrities and them athletes that do all that because there's no expectation for any other things that are
Okay, well,
required
so
in a
that's what
regular
I'm saying. We
marriage.
talking about normal, everyday people here.
Yeah, normal everyday people, you got to prove who you are to a man. We will graduate you based on your skill set. It's certain things I'm looking for. Like for me, I needed to have a woman that can hold down Thanksgiving. Like I needed that. Can you make the
Turkey
greens?
and
Can you
all
make
the
the turkey?
sides and the
All the
desserts.
sides, all that. You got to stay up all night long. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to do it every year. I just needed to know you had that skill set that you could do it, and she proved it. I was like, okay, she's a winner. Because that's what I look forward to. My mom, and I'm not saying that's the end all be all. That's like maybe the icing on the cake or something like that. Just some other little thing because I'm a family oriented guy, and it's gonna be me, her, and our kids. At some point it's just us, and my tree branch gonna branch off and all that, and they're gonna be coming to my house. I'm gonna be grandpa, right?
Yeah.
So we're not gonna be grandpa
But
out
do
at Olive
dudes
Garden on
really
Thanksgiving.
think like that? Like, are dudes really thinking about when they become grandpa?
No, and I try to teach that to men too.
Exactly.
That really I teach the men that the only true challenge in life is how great of a husband you are first and foremost, and how great of a father you are secondary to being a great husband. Because everything else is easy. Collecting women is easy. Collecting money is easy. Having friends is easy. Because they have no expectation of you. But when you get married, it is a challenge of learning how to share your time, effort, energy, learning how to sacrifice, learning how to compromise, learning how to put someone else before you. Because I believe in marriage that the husband has to put the wife first and the wife has to put the husband
Okay,
first.
true. And all of this actually could be a whole nother show, but we getting back to the cable guy. And so he's had his 3 years with this chick, and so basically we're just telling him to be a grown man.
Be a grown man. You've already selected this woman. Because she got emotional, which women didn't tend to do over getting married.
Right.
If a woman has a heartbeat after 3 years, she should be getting upset.
Yep.
Now, having said that, I'm not an appreciation for how she handled her upset. I would have preferred she just leave. You know what I mean? And that's the mistake that women make all the time.
Yes.
My principle for women, again, number one principle is to date more and leave earlier. Right? Leave earlier. So when you felt like you've exhibited the qualities of a wife, then you need to leave. So what happens, and we talked about this recently too, Tamara, where we said a woman will spend a lot of time and energy preparing a man for marriage, and then when she leaves, she cuss him out. And that man just go marry the next woman.
Yep.
He prepared now.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And so what you should do is leave before you get so angry that you build resentment that when you leave or break up, you have a problem. Just leave. Just say, hey, honey, I love you. I'm about it with you. We can do this. But you need to go figure out, whatever you want to figure out, and whenever you're ready to make it happen and make it real, let me know.
But that's kind of the converse of what you're saying, of what you were talking about as far as leadership in men. Like, men have a hard time, or somewhere along the lines in society, we have not been teaching men how to be leaders. But on the flip side of that, we haven't taught women how to submit. So when I'm in a situation I don't like, I'm going to beat you down verbally until I get what I want.
Man, you just said there's so many things you said just now that I could. What do I want to start? Okay, I'm gonna say one more thing about men, and then we're gonna start talking about women because
Okay.
I'm gonna lose my brothers here in a minute, right? So the greatest tragedy to man is to not have witnessed a man love a woman when he was a boy.
Yes, and that's very far and few between nowadays.
Yep. Let me say it again for people that's just had an accident because what I said was so real and all that kind of stuff. Drop their phone. I don't. When you podcast, you don't drop your mic. They drop their phone because they're listening on their phone, right? And so the greatest tragedy to man is to not have witnessed a man love a woman when he was a boy. And so my son is 10 years old. Same for, well, it's kind of different from, I'll explain why it's different.
Okay.
But I have a 10-year-old son. 10 years old is where kids reach their peak in terms of morals and values. Like that's when they really know what is right and what is wrong.
Right.
They continue to develop cognizant, mentally they'll continue to develop, but how they are socially, they know now what is right and what is wrong.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And so my son is 10 now. He needs to see me loving his mother.
Mm-hmm.
And so I will tell my son, go tell mommy that I love her. And he'll giggle and laugh. You go tell mommy you love her. And it's really not about him telling her that I love her. It's really about him knowing that I love her. You
That's
get it?
good.
And so I just
So
say, go tell mommy I love her.
you didn't see it. So where did you get it?
I don't know. I'm a blessing. I don't know. It's something that I wanted. It's something that I cherished. I never knew my father. My mother's been divorced 4 times. I just wanted love. I'm different. I'm unique and special and all those great things about me. Let me pat myself on the back. Now I'm blessed. I'm really blessed to just have a value for marriage. I'm really blessed. Like I remember going to the family reunion. Yeah, I remember going to the family reunion and seeing a T-shirt with my grandfather on the front, with my grandmother and all the uncles and aunts and all. And I'm like, man, I want to be the grandfather at the top of the throne one day. You know what I mean? And we rent out the whole park. We rent out the whole park. You know what I'm saying? Only problem with that is I ain't gonna have 11 kids though, so I don't know if we gonna need the whole park. We might just do it in the backyard. You know what I'm saying? Like, submission. What I teach with submission is that woman should want to submit to man, and what that means is that you've selected a man to submit to. We're not just talking about you submit to some random dude. We're not talking about that. Mm-hmm. We're talking about a man a man that selected you, and that now that man's gonna take care of you, provide for you, keep you safe, keep you all that fed, all that whatever, gonna make your life better. And you select him to say, okay, I will submit. See, when you submit, that's you submit to a person. Like, I am giving myself to you.
Yep.
And you only do that if you trust that he knows what to do with you. You only do that if the man can add value to your life. So I give simple scenarios about submission. Man comes home, says, hey, honey, starting this week, I wash dishes Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You wash dishes Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Sunday, we'll figure it out, right?
Right.
If the man walks in and he's fair and even, and, then woman should be to accept that. Now, woman may say, Monday, Wednesday, Friday might not work for me. Can we switch those days?
Right.
I expect man to be like, yeah, we can switch those days because you got choir practice on Monday or whatever. Yeah, so let's switch those days. But the key thing is, we want our men to have a plan for the marriage. That's a simple example. But we want our men to have a plan for marriage. And some women, like you said, are struggling with learning how to follow that plan. Yeah. Like, are you trying to run me? Are you trying to be the boss of me? Right. Are you trying to be a king?
And we never saw an example of submission in a lot of cases.
If you haven't seen it exhibited, then definitely you struggle with it and you think that you're trying to be controlled. But in actuality, you have a person that's sitting down thinking about what the family or what the marriage will need tomorrow. And because he thinks like that, and I get that all the time, that people look at me like, Steven is so controlling, so dominant, blah, blah. My wife do whatever she wants.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's also a lesson. I mean, for me, I'm thankful that I did have that example. My mother has been, very clear on, I express what I want and I express my needs. But at the end of the day, my husband is the head of the household.
I remember one time a guy came in, it was in a neighborhood, a brother selling paintings. And he came into the house, laid out a whole bunch of paintings. And my wife was like, paintings.
Oh, I thought you said panties.
No, we're not gonna take those.
I was like,
we're not just dude just walk through with panties on his like. You want these on my ring fingers?
No, thank you.
These look like they'll fit your wife right here. These right? No, that'd be a problem.
We good.
Don't be doing no evaluation of my wife. And so he came in with some paintings, and they were really good. Like brother just hustling, just walking down the street, whatever, and driving around. And he got him out the truck, brought him in. My wife looked at him for like 15, 20 minutes, and she said, "I want this one, and this one." But you had to talk to my husband. And she left the room. You know what that made me do?
Negotiate. Get them paintings.
We getting all them paintings. We getting all those. All the ones she pointed at, since she done empowered me and made me feel like a man in front of another man. Oh yeah, we getting all them paintings. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so, but she knew too. But there's also been times too where I had to say, no, honey, I don't have it. And so a lot of men struggle with that.
Yeah.
I remember my wife wanted a Mercedes-Benz truck. And I was like, honey, I don't have it right now. I don't have it. Now, when I got it, when I got that bag, got that money, mm-hmm. She didn't even know I was still preparing and looking for it the whole time. But at that time, and I prided myself. I take pride in being man enough and confident enough to. Oh, this a whole nother podcast too, Terry.
It is. To
be man enough and to be confident enough to say to my wife, I do not have money for a Mercedes-Benz truck now. Or I do not, let's just say truck. I don't have money for whatever it is you want right now.
Right.
And I need you to love me anyway.
Because that's major, especially in this day and age. And I'm going to try to step outside of my sister soldier persona. But, our society has been set up where a lot of our women are propelled to succeed and a lot of our men have been held back. And so for whatever reason it is, so we have a lot of women who are, outpacing the men. And so now you're having to join together and figure out, okay, if he didn't have the money and she does or whatever, how that works. And so, that says a lot about who you are as a man to be able to say, I ain't got it. When I get it, I will get it for you, but I ain't got it now.
And then also as a man, be comfortable in what you bring to the table, even if it's not more finance.
Exactly.
Like I've always, anytime I see a relationship or marriage that I'm working with a man has a confidence issue because of money, it breaks my heart because I know that if that man loved that woman, that she's not as concerned about that money, but you got to love her.
Right.
Like if you're not bringing the money, just love her though. Just you got to wash some feet.
Get them cars,
cook some meals,
tires done,
get them mop some floors, vacuums, whatever.
Yep.
And just
keep that
tell
gas
her you
tank
love
full.
her. Write her some notes, put them in the lunchbox, all that kind of. There's other
go.
things you can do. It's not just about money. It's about the woman feeling loved and protected and nurtured and supported and encouraged. And so I try to tell men that there's other things besides money, and we have to stop as men evaluating the quality of man that we are based on money.
Mm. Yeah, but a lot of times women do that. So it's like it's a challenge for a man to kind of find his own value outside of outside of money when women are looking at the value of men based on money.
Right, and so the woman that does that, you don't want to be with her.
Thank you.
She raggedy. You won't be with her. Let's do some rapid fire. Talk about a couple quick issues. Other issues I had was security. I had a couple where the man was kind of nonchalant about keeping the house secure, like in terms of going to bed without turning on the alarm. Going outside and he'll go for a jog and he'll leave the front door open, or just leave the house sometimes and didn't make sure the garage door closed, right? And it was funny. I figured out that this is gonna blow your mind. I figured out, even you, Tamara, you never heard me talk about this before.
Okay.
I figured out that when a woman gets married, she lets her guard down.
Yeah.
And so she becomes, more delicate and more reserved because now she knows that she's not supposed to be protecting herself.
He got it.
He got it. He's protecting me.
He's supposed to.
He's supposed to be protecting me, and it's not even a conversation. It's an innate sensation or feeling that that if something happens, I'm gonna get behind him.
Yep.
You encounter some danger. There's a thief, a robber, a murderer, whatever. Woman gonna get behind him. Like you got to go through him first before you get to me. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And so. A lot of men and women struggle with that concept, whereas the man is like, well, she a woman, what would you have done? I had a couple one time where a man was just adamant about what would you have done if I wasn't here? And I'm like,
but you here.
No.
If I had to worry about what I would have done if you weren't here, then why'd I need you?
What's the point of you?
Right.
What is the point of you? And it's funny how, and we talked about one time, we had to have a whole show about role definition, how some people struggle with understanding that, but I'm not on some, 1930s, you stay in the kitchen, barefoot, pregnant, all that. I'm just saying there's some natural, innate things about the average individual that's true.
Yes.
For example, very simple. Every morning, my 10-year-old son goes to school. I'm concerned about him having a cell phone because I want him to be able to call me. My wife concerned about him having a snack. I don't care less about his snack. I don't care if he, like, he gonna survive. You know what I'm saying? He a dude.
Right.
He good.
Yeah.
He gonna figure it out or whatever, or he'll be hungry when he get home and I'll fix it then. But he has to have his cell phone because I need him to call me if it's raining, if it's a problem, if he got an issue. I'm about security and protection. And it was natural. I never forget getting his cell phone. I forget his snack all the time. My wife never forgets his snack or his lunch.
Right.
She makes sure that he got money in his account for lunch. She makes sure that if she packing lunch, she packing all the things he need very carefully, sometimes the night before even. Me, every night, one of the last things I do, and it's a part of my security actually. I lock down the house, turn on the security, make sure my son's phone is on the charger, because in the morning he got to have his phone ready, because that's about security to me.
Yep. Okay.
And so some men struggle with that.
Well, we're about to run out of time, so you want to wrap up with political talk?
You know what? Let's do a little bit. Yeah. I follow the recount. Have you been following this recount stuff?
Oh my gosh, I'm trying not to because it's just making me mad.
One story. Okay, let me try. I'm gonna say one story. Okay, Wisconsin. It looks like okay. Everybody looks like the recount is not going to have any effect. Just across the board, Donald Trump is more
exactly. I mean, it doesn't do anything. Like people getting their hopes up or whatever. But at the end of the day, that man is still going to end up being the president.
More than likely, he every day that goes by is more likely that he's going to become the president.
The stuff is just so stupid. Like him sitting up here accusing somebody of election fraud and then saying, "Well, how dare they want to recount?"
Right. And one story I tell about it, because we run out of time, is in Michigan, what they have is a law that states, so when you go to vote, they give you a ballot, right? Uh-huh. And then the voting is another physical process that they count separately. So at my polling place, I gave out 100 ballots.
Right.
But then when it went to vote, I only got 95 votes because when I fed the ballot into the machine, for some reason it didn't count 5.
Okay, so that's crazy to me because when you actually put your vote in, they tell you to watch and make sure the number changes.
Right. And so, but in Michigan, somehow in about half of the counties in Wayne County, which is about Detroit, and that's African Americans, in about half the counties, there was a difference in the number of ballots and votes. And by Michigan law, if there's a difference in the number of ballots and votes, then you can't do a recount.
You cannot?
Yes, that's it. You heard me right. I thought it would be the exact opposite also. If there's a difference in the number of ballots and votes, no, we should do a recount. No, by law, if they have 100 ballots and 95 votes, then the recount is canceled.
Okay, so if you had 100 ballots and 100 votes, then you can do a recount?
Which don't make no sense.
Right, because there's no point in a recount at that point.
Exactly. But that's Michigan law.
Oh, see, yeah, they do some shady shenanigans over there.
No, not that they, and the key thing I want to say about this is not that they're doing some shady shenanigans. The shenanigans was already done years ago in preparation for today.
Yes. Well, that's what I'm saying. That's when people be talking about stay woke, because nobody knows this kind of stuff that's going on. That's been behind the curtain for years.
Right. And so that kind of law has to be planned in advance because it's stupid and backwards. Mm-hmm. Right. And so somebody had to plan in advance, like, yeah, we're going to do this. This is how we're going to steal elections or whatever. And then, when this happens, let's make a law so you can't do a recount. So election is stolen.
But you said something interesting the other day about how they throw out votes for whatever reason. And that's something that's not publicized at all. I'd never heard of that.
Yep. Throw out votes for whatever reason, and then they don't justify. And more importantly, you don't even know that your vote got thrown out. So like you just said, you put your vote in and it counted or whatever. But then on the back end, they verifying information for some odd reason, which we don't even know they verifying, right? And it's different state laws or whatever.
Well, yeah, so but like you go into that, like you were talking about how, if your name is Stephen James Dixon and you live in Texas and somebody named Stephen James Dixon lives in D.C., they going to throw out one of them votes because y'all got the same name.
Yep, I'm going to say that, then we're going to jump off. We got a minute left, right? So I'm going to try to explain this concept in a minute.
Okay,
I'm going to talk to you. No, I'm joking. Okay, so there's a law. It's called, I forgot the name of it. But anyway, what's going on in a lot of the Republican states where there's a Republican governor and there's a Republican attorney general, they've taken out the names of people who are more likely to be like black or Hispanic. So for example, say DeAndre Smith, right? It'll be a DeAndre Kevin Smith in Ohio, and then there'll be a DeAndre Thomas Smith in Michigan. They, in a lot of cases, will remove both of those votes because they'll say DeAndre voted in 2 different states.
So that's crazy. And that
Even
might be DeAndre daddy.
Names. Who knows, right? It could definitely be his daddy, right? But they don't verify that. So that's the Divorce is Not an Option podcast. Appreciate everybody listening. Make sure you subscribe and follow on Spreaker, SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, everywhere. The Voice Not Option Podcast.
See y'all next
James
week.
Dixon.